Hello everyone. For today's discussion, we will introduce the similarities and differences between the Mexico and Brazil for their cultures. Now, Brazil and Mexico have historically been the two largest, most powerful and influential nations in Latin America. Each of these nations have numerous cultural similarities and as well as significant differences. Brazil is the largest country in South America with a tropical climate. It borders most of its neighbors with land features of plains and plateaus. Having high mountains and canyons, Mexico is a land position between the United States and Central. Portuguese is the primary language of Brazil, whereas the official language of Mexico is Spanish. Similarly, these countries are predominantly Catholic Christians, with Brazil having the most Catholics globally. Meanwhile, Mexico is also a dominant Catholic region in South America. Politically, Brazil and Mexico are both federal presidential republics. Likewise, they have presidents as their head of government and are democratic.
Brazil and Mexico, both having diverse culture, experiences, and their histories, help explain their present realities. Now, let's proceed to Mexico and Brazil childbirth practices. In terms of childbirth practices, both Brazil and Mexico have similar ways on giving birth to a baby by C-section or cesarean. Mexicans have one of the highest rate of cesarean section globally, while cesarean section in Brazil are also common. Goldson 2019. Besides giving birth in Brazil performed through C-section at hospital, they make the newborn baby wear a red cloth, believe that it can protect the baby against evil spirits and give it a good luck charm. In Mexico, giving birth to a newborn baby is mostly in a patient's house, and the tradition performed called closing of womb, by giving a patient a water to pour over his head to ensure that every part of his body is cleansed during the ceremony.
Now let's proceed to the parenting styles of Brazilians and Mexicans. They are typically characterized by affection and authority. It was found that Latinos practice more authoritarian parenting, while others use more authoritative practices. In general, Hispanic families tend to put more emphasis on obedience and respect for adult authority. For the most part, Brazilian parents are quite collectivistic and interdependent. They usually give freedom. Moreover, there is often a double standard between Mexican parents' perception that praises their children's perfection despite evidence of bad behavior.
So let's proceed to the Brazilian and Mexican wedding rites similarities and differences. Since most Brazilians and Mexicans are Catholic, their wedding rite ceremony takes place in a Catholic church. In a traditional wedding, most of it are held every 3 spiritual and involve a full mass. The Mexican and Brazil have differences when it comes to wedding rites and ceremonies, such like the Mexican groom's family pays a courtesy visit to the bride's home to formally ask for her hand in marriage as a sign of respect. Differing to the Brazilian, the groom tries to tame a donkey in order to prove himself to his future father-in-law. Next, proceed to the dining etiquette. On dining etiquettes, Brazil and Mexican do not switch knives and fork as they eat. The knife remain in the right hand and the fork remain in the left. When the meal is finished, the knife and fork are laid parallel to each other. In Brazil, it is considered a bad form to leave the dinner party or the table at any time. While in Mexico, before eating, it is customary to wish other diners buen provecho or enjoy your meal, which is usually prompted by the host.
In work ethics, having meeting with Mexican and Brazilian people needs an appointment. They patiently wait to answer the call because if you become hasty in taking their answers, they might reject or decline your proposal. Both Mexican and Brazilians do their jobs efficiently and want the job to be done on time. Brazilians prioritize their own time the most. They tend to pride themselves on dressing well, whereas the Mexican, they are reluctant to directly say no, that sometimes cause misunderstandings about time, frames, and deadlines. Family orientation between Brazilian and Mexico is related to each other. Families of Brazil are usually very large and close-knit. As parents get older, they usually live with their children rather than a nursing home. In Mexico, the eldest son of each four family is expected to care of his parents once they get old. Instead, the men of the family in Brazil are usually the ones who go to work to make the money. While in Mexico, close-knit family relations provide a network of security and support, particularly in times of need.
Brazilian and Mexican burial customs usually take place within 48 hours of a person's death. Christianity is the widely followed in these countries. That is, burials are more popular than cremation. Unlike other South American countries, the Brazilian do not celebrate death but focus on the sadness and pain when someone dies, expressing their grief vocally. However, Mexican funerals focus more on celebration than grief. Death was seen as the start of a new journey rather than the end of a single journey. Kessler, 2021.
Conclusion. On our own selves, the relevance of culture appreciation is the accepting, understanding, and recognizing the various similarities and differences, particularly from the culture of Brazil and Mexico.
In addition, understanding different viewpoints as a society is made easier by learning about different cultures.
This aids the unfair conceptions and individual prejudice regarding various culture. The diversity of culture also enables a society to acknowledge and respect way of being that are not always similar. Significantly, the collective understanding of the world to culture is the building of values, languages, traditions, and beliefs.
It is the culture's useful ability to connect and help us reunite in creating a better world ahead.